we do this too. It's just like human nature. I just wanted to stop by. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about best care. It makes it sound like it's not important, but it's totally important, right? So take the just and like, and it's hard to do. But once you hear me say it, and then you hear yourself say it out in the field or on the phone or wherever you're at, you're like, oh Lord, I just said just again. Right? So you're going to get that. The other one is, can you think of a patient who could benefit from home care? This is this is how everyone talks. And our job in this setting is to have you not sound like everyone else.
Right.
So if you would have said that to me as a clinician when I was actually in the field before I knew about in-home care, if you would have said, can you think of anyone who could benefit from in-home care? I would have been like, nope. Because number one, I didn't know what in-home care did.
Right.
I thought I did. By the way, I thought I did, but I didn't. Right? I totally didn't until I got inside. So my recommendation to you is to talk about, and you could even ask them, say, Dr. Savage, thanks so much for meeting with me today. That's your T, right? The TADA. Thanks for meeting with me today. You don't actually have to say his time is super precious because everybody knows it, right?
Okay.
And it almost makes it sound like, time's super precious and da-da-da-da, right? I know their time's precious, so I'm going to get right to the point, right? So I just stopped by today to ask you can replace that with, hey, Dr. Savage, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me today. Melanie from Melanie's Home Care. The reason I stopped by today is I wanted to learn a little bit about your patients and how, when they have bladder cancer, what are some of the challenges that they report to you at home?
Okay, that sounds so much better.
And I would leave it open because he's probably going to say like, oh, they have incontinence or whatever. Now, you got to be prepared if he says nothing. I mean, I know he doesn't want to say nothing, but here's the scoop. If I'm a doc and like my husband's in orthopedics, right? They don't know what happens when they go home, by the way. They do not. They cut and they put in a new knee and they send them home and they have no idea what goes on at home. So he may not. He may go, well, they go home. The end, right? It's great. What you're trying to do is to have himself identify things that are a challenge for him. In this case, I would hit with, when patients go home, if he doesn't come up with something that you like if he says, I don't know, or they just go home and everything's fine. You can just simply then re-presence. Tell me about a time when a patient did struggle at home. And what you're trying to get him to do is say, well, they probably have some continence issues, or they probably have some pain issues, or whatever it is that this cancer care patient is going to have. But you always got to have something in your back pocket to presence, because if he says no, you don't want to be left out in the dark, right? If he says, I don't know anything, and then you could just simply say, have you had an experience like this, or has a patient come back and shared with you any experiences? And he may then immediately give you to his nurse or his scheduler or someone. And that happens a lot to me, especially in orthopedics and other places. I don't know what happens when they go home, but you talk to my nurse, Nancy, and she can help you.